Hello everyone! I did it again. I almost did it again. I had Bandicam set up for 2 frames a second with no sound, but I just caught it. Because I'm just that fucking good. Anyways, what the fuck am I doing? I was going to say that I'm in a peculiar mood today. Because I'm sweaty, I'm covered in grime, because we finally got done putting up that fence that you guys don't know about yet because you haven't seen the other video that I've been making. Why am I even talking about it? Anyways, we're gonna go all sorts of places today. We need to go down there. We need to go over here. We need to go over here to our good friend. Yes, I know that you can get over to him. We need to put a stop to these boulders that he's putting into that oddly sexual hole. And we also need to go over here and down there. And we need to beat a boss. And we need to go back to the bonfire and become human so we can go over there. And then we go up there and then go up here. Anyways, we're gonna do all sorts of stuff today. And I have notes, and I have cake. I don't actually have cake. I wish I had cake. We have this table and this chair. We don't need those, though. We don't need those. That was a shitty looking chair anyways. Oh, but I broke it and we'll never get it back. Oh, all the lore significance is gone. Gone! Anyways, let's have this asshole here, and you will notice for a moment, he's levitating. Oh my god. He's a specter. He's a spookman. But they probably did this because they wanted him to seem taller than he actually is. Or they just placed him incorrectly and they never fixed it. Maybe I'm giving them too much credit, as I sometimes do, or according to some of you, I don't do enough of. Anyways, let's talk to this butthole.
What? Who are you? Another undead, eh? I took my sense fortress alone, but I'm no different from those vile creatures. I was driven by conceit. You think you're different? That you can handle it? Yes, I remember that feeling. For I was the same. So, let me help you out, with your soul searching.
Oh, what a feeling! Dancing with Bud Selig, former commissioner of baseball, Bud Selig. Let's see. He's got some... Oh, yeah, this is the reason why I'm carrying around so many souls right now. Had to do quite a bit of farming. I actually spent some souls to get my Soul's Humanity up to 10 to try to get the Man-Serpent Greatsword, but the fuckers never dropped it. By the way, in the German version, I read this on the wiki, the sword is just called Schlingenschwert, which I bring up because it's hilarious. Which would translate specifically to Snake Sword. Apparently. I'm saying that really incorrectly, but I don't give a shit. Schlingenschwert. Get my Schlingenschwert. And of course, still the Jews. I shouldn't say stuff like that. Not since last time. I remember what happened. Okay, they have a few things. The tower shield specifically... Actually, let's go ahead and look at the descriptions. Weapon type, Great Shield, attack type, strike. That is... Oh, that's so important. Metal Great Shield. Used by the Knight Better... I know you guys hate it. Better Nike, yes! Yes, I love your fucking tears! I should stop to upgrade a few things, and I need to get a thing of water. Oh, and save that for later. Known for his heavy armor. So it's a he! It is a he here. And, this actually, I think I have to double check this, but this also might be a translation error, in which they actually overly specify that it's a person. It seems like that happens 1 or 2 times, but I can't quite remember which one it is. Anyways, I'm sure all you little pedantic guys down in the comments, I'm sure you'll correct the shit out of me. This thick plate of iron is heavily defensive, but ultra heavy. Great shields are very stable, blah blah, blah blah blah. And we already have the Balder shield, and we already have the Great Axe, which we got down in the sewers. Surrounded by a bunch of rats, which is kind of weird. Why would the Great Axe be down there surrounded by a bunch of rats? Apparently they were eating a dude. This Great Axe is vertical mass awareness and... Guys. So maybe one of the knights, Berenice, was down there. Or Berenice. Oh, Berenice is so important to pronounce it correctly. That's what you guys say. Great sword. Now this is going to be ultra important to some people. Actually, let's go ahead and buy this. I don't think I have one of these yet. And some of these... Like, I have this, but it's... Why is it? How come I don't have it right now? That's strange. Maybe it's a different one that I have. I should have this in my inventory right now. I don't know. I'll check that in a second. Anyways, great sword. But some of them it won't show up because it's in my bottomless box. Great sword. One of the gigantic straight great swords, which is a ridiculous concept. But it is what it is. Dark Souls FromSoft. Very few have what it takes to wield this incredibly heavy, damage-dealing monster. If something's bigger, that means it does more damage. Physics doesn't matter, kids. No. Whether you can actually... It doesn't matter. If you're just really strong, then you can do anything. You know, as long as you're strong, it doesn't matter what the shape of the thing is. It doesn't matter how much... resistance... No, stop me. Stop it, stop. You're doing a thing again. Very few... Blah, blah, blah. A favorite of the Knights of Baranaki, known for their heavy armor and black iron Tarkus, who will we be meeting later today. Maybe. I'm going to be getting another one of these later, but I want to talk about it now, so let's go ahead and get one, because I really don't need too many souls right now. I can always just cheat more in later, I guess. I'm glad to see that you guys didn't throw a fit about the fact that I'm cheating some things in, because like I said, I've already upgraded. I upgraded things, you know, legitimately to like plus 10, and several of them, as a matter of fact. And I only got, and it's only a few of them that I really need to worry about, as far as cheating things in goes. Which you guys don't seem to mind, which I'm glad. Some people actually were saying, go ahead and cheat plus 15 things in. No, we're not doing that. I'm trying to keep on pace with the things that we actually have access to until this point of the game. Which is the reason why I'm not skipping ahead. I'm just trying to make sure that I have enough things to show off for you guys. And I'll try to show off more. There's the reason why I'm using the hand axe today. Or I'll be using multiple weapons, but, you know, if you can see it through this menu. Hand axe is actually a pretty good weapon, but more about that in a second. Still, helm. Helm of the Knights of Baranaki, known for their heavy armaments and armor, blah, blah, blah. Countless Knights of Baranaki, once extolled as the mightiest of mighty, became undead and ventured to Lordran. But their journey was for naught, as they went hollow and became a threat to all undead. Kind of strange. They went hollow and became a threat to all undead. So, this seems to imply that pretty much all of them, like there used to be an organization of these guys, and at some point, something happened that probably killed them all. Maybe there was some great failure, or maybe it's something that happened over time. We don't know, you know, just make conjecture, guys. That caused them to all realize, oh, we're hollow. So, Baranaki himself, if there actually was a guy named such... Oh, I really should have. I shouldn't have drank all that strawberry crush. Oh god, I love strawberry crush, though. I love lots of things. Let's see. But anyways, they all congregated together in a big football head on and was like, shit, we're all cursed. And they're like, yeah, Hut, let's go to Lordran and spike the ball, or other football, gridiron-related things. Yeah, I'm good. I'm a good commentator. Anyways, let's see. Do we ever... No, I think I do have to buy these outright. Because some things are still kind of foggy with me, and I'm pretty sure that we do have to buy these. And I love the fact that most of the armor sets and weapons in this game you just find on corpses. Or if you don't find them on corpses, they're just at a merchant. And you don't even have to trigger anything. Just walk up to them and buy it. And you're done. Like in Dark Souls 2, the Katarina shit right here. You have to, let's see, ascetic, you might even have to be in New Game Plus. I can't quite remember. But you have to farm a black or red, whatever, phantom over and over again and get these to drop successively. And it's a pain in the ass because you'll keep getting, like, the gauntlets over and over again. Or nothing. You'll kill him 10 times in a row. 10 times in a row, and he just won't drop anything. I fucking hate that shit. Grinding is the worst. It does not belong in Souls games. Okay, enough of that. Anyways, this is the stuff that Sigmire and Siegland, is that what her name? I think so. Wear Katarina gauntlets. You know, just from the... Okay, I'll just read the fucking thing. What the fuck's wrong with me? Distinctively shaped gauntlets worn by the Knights of Katarina. Outside Katarina, they are often ridiculed for their onion-like shape, infuriating the proud knights. But the masterfully forged curved design makes it very effective for parrying. Which doesn't really make any sense. Effective for parrying? I mean, I guess. I mean, the gloves. What else did the other ones say? Oh, this also says parrying. That's not really what parrying is from Soft, but, you know, I understand. In other words, a curved surface actually is going to reflect things better than a flat surface will. Actually, I have some information. Not about this. But you'll notice, like, tank design. early tank designs were just, let's put some armor, let's just throw some panels up, and we'll have guys inside, and we'll wheel them around on wheels, and they'll shoot from inside of it. And that's why they made tanks. But eventually they realized, holy shit, people are firing shells for this. We actually have to try. So they started welding things to be kind of curved. And a lot of early tank designs kind of kept doing this until they realized in the 1960s, 1950s maybe, that doing this actually weakens the structural integrity of the armor. So modern tanks, you will notice, actually use flat surface, but positioned at angles. So that, I won't go too much into it, but that's the most effective way to deflect rounds. It's actually rounded surfaces that are better, but because, you know, if a shell or a blade or something hits it, then it can't transfer all of its momentum into whatever it is that it's trying to hit. And I didn't have quite enough of these, but these aren't really important to me. But I will eventually have to get these too. And that's just, you know, that's just how that works. Okay. Thunder Stoneplate Ring, Stoneplate is the symbol of a true knight. Grants the strength to face various hardships. The yellow Stoneplate symbolizes thunder, blah, blah, blah. Blue plate symbolizes souls. So remember, we had the sort of the Astora thing going on, where blue is referencing to magic. And I don't think we have anything so far that has been that has had an existing association with yellow. But this is pretty lazy that it just symbolizes thunder, don't you think? It's kind of lazy. Soul's a bit more, but, you know... And souls, it's trying to imply that souls are linked to magic, but souls are linked to everything in this universe. So that also is kind of dumb. But whatever. Okay, but this guy specifically, he appears to be associated with the Knights of Bernaki, or the Berenice, I'm sorry, my little sweetlings. But he also seems to be associated with them. It is odd that he said that he came here alone, when it's obvious that the other ones came here as a group. So maybe he was trailing behind them, maybe he came here much earlier. Who can say, really? But he is a ghost, so maybe he's just super powerful. Ooh, let's see what he has to say.
There's nothing more to say. I'm finished. We're both on the brink, you see. End of story. You bloody fool.
So this guy is a crestfallen merchant. We have the crestfallen warrior up in Firelink, who's still alive, I'm pretty sure. And by the way, yes, I have noted that you guys want to keep Laurentius alive, so I'll be keeping him alive. A few of you did say something to the contrary, but what the fuck? My frame rate dropped dramatically for a second. I won't worry about it later, as long as it's not doing it anymore.
Let me give you a nibble of advice. Don't even consider visiting Amorlondo. Not in your state.
Fine.
For a century they've tried and failed. The Night King Rendell, Black Iron Tarkus, and even Logan himself. You won't stand a chance, you'll be eaten alive. But go along if you wish. If only to deepen your despair.
So, a few things to note. This has been going on, the Sin's Fortress rush to Anor Londo, according to him, for 1 century. And people like Black Iron Tarkus have tried and failed. Night King Rendell has tried and failed, although we never find his corpse specifically. Although it could have been... I'll save that, but it could have been, you know, associated with the steel ring that we found earlier and so on. And he mentioned specifically Logan, who we found down there. And although I guess at this point, if you had not, you know, unlocked him yet, you wouldn't know about him. So that would be a name drop, I guess. So a few things to go across here. I will point out that it was odd that Logan was sealed up behind a wall. But he was also locked up in an area that seemed to have a bunch of cages in it. So the only thing that really kind of makes sense regarding... Oh man, my face is so black right here. The only thing that really makes sense right here is maybe Logan actually was another chosen undead that rang the bells, came to Sin's Fortress, failed, and had been here for a very long time. And Griggs apparently went looking for him and got his ass locked inside of a room somehow. Or maybe he found another black mage and killed him and then took his clothes to impersonate a black mage. Who knows? Who knows? That part, that doesn't really matter either way, honestly. But anyways, Logan apparently came here and because he knows about it. He seems to know that Logan was here. Which is odd because he's been up here the whole time. So apparently Logan got pretty far until he was captured and put inside of that cell.
Let me give you
Nibble
a-
of advice. Okay.
Don't even consider. For
So then try to
essentially,
fail.
the Night King ran
That was, yeah.
He won't stand a chance. You but go along.
Okay. So that's all he has to say for the time being.
Go along. Try and make something of yourself. But nothing will come of it. And I should know.
So apparently he used to be someone that was absolutely filled with vigor and a spirit for life, and he was someone that... this is actually a real thing. He was someone that actually was trying his hardest, and probably used to be a very optimistic person. And I say that because usually the people that become the most crestfallen in life are usually the people that have the most optimism. Yes, my little sweetie. No, not today. See, I have room to move up here. This is the nice thing about this, this hand axe. It's pretty damn fast. Like, you see, most of the axes, this does not have the same sort of thing that most of the axes have, and that if you miss with it, then you stagger. This one, is pretty damn fast, pretty useful. R2, nothing overly special there. This one, I think you do stagger if you don't hit anything. So there is that distinction. What's this? Nature, whatever. Shut up. Shut up. But more, this more importantly, specifically for this gauge key, we need this. Actually, we don't really need this, but this is useful. Gauge key, let's go ahead and take a look at it. I don't think I've ever even... This is one of those things, I don't think I've ever even really looked at the description of this gauge key. Key to the hanging cage in Sin's Fortress. Actually, a key to several of them. If a hapless adventurer becomes fatigued during an imprudent attempt to overcome the fortress, the Serpent Men will not kill him, but lock him up in a lonely cage. Eventually, unless they have forgotten, they drag the victim off to who knows where. Now that's interesting because I've never read this before. As far as I can remember, it's been so long ago I've forgotten. But where exactly they would take them, I don't know. Probably even FromSoft doesn't know, but the implication, of course, is supposed to be that maybe there's someone in the fortress that you could use this key to unlock and down. Not saying who it was, but it's Logan. It's Logan. It's totally Logan. So, we obviously don't need this for Logan, because we've already freed the little old fart, so we don't need that. So, the only thing that this is really useful for is actually opening up a shortcut all the way down to the lower bits of Sin's Fortress, which is actually pretty useful. Because, going back down Sin's Fortress is actually, to me, it seems a bit harder in some ways than going up. I can run through Sin's Fortress pretty damn quickly, to be honest. And I don't think that wow, he actually reset everything.
Oh, yes, it's you. What is it? Still something you need, eh? Anything at all?
Yeah, I'll buy something from you. I'll buy a single green blossom. Aren't you proud of me? What do you think of that, buddy?
There you go, another brave.
Yeah.
But soon you shall see. You and I are no different. Yes, you soon shall see the putrid fates we both share.
So he is... See, sort of like some of the people that we met so far, the Crestfallen Warrior, what's his... Oh, fuck, I can't even remember his name, but the blacksmith down in New Londo. For some reason, I'm drawing a blank on his name for some reason. Anyways, because I never use him, so sometimes his name escapes me. But they are all people that have sort of given up, but they have not gone hollow because they have just locked themselves away. And one of the distinctions between Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 1, again, Dark Souls 2, what can I say about it? But in Dark Souls 2, people seem to just go hollow for no real reason. Like, they'll just be walking around, and they'll kind of just start slowly degenerating. Whereas in Dark Souls 1, it seems to be that as long as you protect yourself from dying, then you don't really lose anything. Which actually, I kind of like Dark Souls 2 in a way, in that respect. In that you can keep going, but if you lose your motivation, like if you lock yourself in a room, then eventually you'll go hollow anyways, because you have lost everything that makes you you. So Dark Souls 1 kind of misses the mark in some ways in that regard. Although Dark Souls 2 had its own problems in how it portrayed it as well. Anyways, but both games did it pretty well, I'll give them that. Anyways, that's all we need for you and your adorable little helmet. What is the purpose of that thing up top, you may be wondering? There is no purpose. It's just to look cute. Because those medieval guys, they wanted to look cute ever so often, and who are you to tell them otherwise? Okay, but we need to go down here, and just to get the final last thought out... Actually, I guess I'll go ahead and try to get over the hem. I might miss this jump, though. Concentrate. That is kind of a hard jump in some ways. I feel sorry for speedrunners, because you do have to do it at the sort of very last moment. And sometimes it's a little bit awkward and you'll kind of clip, like you'll hit the analog stick the wrong way at the last moment and kind of start sliding off of things. Anyways, I'm going to have to try to get over the him first. And while I'm thinking about it, I wanted to get this thought out that whenever the like Vietnam War and things, any sort of prisoner of war camp, usually the people that broke first were the very optimistic people. The people that thought, oh, we're going to be out by Christmas. We're going to, it's not going to take very long at all for us to be rescued. Has he seen me yet? Oh, he's seen me. He knows I'm here. Oh, God. Will he come and get me? No, he's not going to come and get me. But usually they were the first people to break because they kept lingering on to this hope. And, it was the people that were more pessimistic, more realistic, the people like me that you criticize all the time, that are more realistic in their expectations. Actually, let me go ahead and switch them. See, I have the great X. I don't know why it... Huh, maybe it's because it's plus 10 or something. That might be a reason why, because it doesn't pick it up sometimes. Let's go to something dumb. Demon's great X. Is there anything? Yeah, nothing. And I have to two-hand it or else I can't use the damn thing. But he's just like his friends. He will get really pissed off. And he will also go into flipping his shit mode if I'm not careful. I'm gonna kick you like football. Come on here, boy. I'm gonna get you real good. Whoops. I didn't mean to do that. Oh well. But this is another thing to show you either way. Is that you can fall through this hole, and that's where the boulders are placed. And if I'm not careful, he might place one on top of me. And let's go ahead and get rid of this one. Thinking about it. I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to do that. That was silly. But you can fall through this and reach the place here if you want to. But the last little thing I was trying to say about that is that you can kind of construe from that's the reason why I say that crestfallen merchant there is probably someone that used to be pretty optimistic, because he was probably someone that was sort of gung-ho about getting through the fortress, and then he kind of lost his path. That's kind of what I construe from it. And I'm reading a lot into that, though. I kind of doubt that he made it all this way, just to... I'm gonna... Please, yes. Oh, come on. Yes. Oh, I love watching him die like that. It's the small things, But that's what I construe from him, that he used to be someone like that. Because how would he get here if he had given up already? So the other component of the testamental to get yourself to... through Sen's Fortress is not only a physical component. Like, it's not only, fighting your way there. It's also whether or not you have the mental fortitude to make it all the way without, end up losing your path in life in the first place. Okay. Let's try to not do... Oh, come on, really? That didn't count. Little butthole. Did it again! I fucking did it again. You know what, guys? Let me skip ahead so I'll stop making a fool out of myself. So here we are, 20 seconds later. Or, not 20 seconds later. That's really overestimating things. I guess probably about a minute. But that's a minute of commentary I didn't have to do. And maybe I can do this without getting my ass plowed into a hole like I normally do. Come on. Really? He has a lot of health, to be honest. Arrgh, look at my butt. I don't wear any panties. Oh, you sexy little minx. But I think actually this guy respawns, so that was completely pointless in every way. What do you have to say, buddy? Try ranged battle. That is some useful information after we have already gotten here in the first place. Good work. And I think actually... Can I actually reach over here? Yeah, maybe not. I can't quite remember. It's been a long time. I might actually have to intentionally drop down the hole again just to get over here. You know what, guys? This is going to be a great episode. This is going to be an amazing episode. I will see you guys in a second. Farts and butts, butts and farts. Both are funny because they're butts and farts. I made it, yay! But I made it in the wrong way. But I can always just go back up the top and try again. But while we're down here, we might as well just talk about the fact that the Boulder Knights are down here as well. Just doing absolutely jack squat. What they're doing down here, who can say? But they seem to be guarding a few things, which I might just put to use. Oh, come on. Really? I'm using the butcher's knife, by the way, for this reason. I love running at them like a fool. Oh, come on. You should lower your shield. Usually, these guys... The thing about Dark Souls AI, usually, is that they're so aggressive that even if they use a shield, there's rarely a chance to actually use, you know, any sort of move that will break their shield stance, because they usually just attack at the very moment that you're in range anyways, which I really don't like. Oh, good. Thank goodness. I've gotten to the point where I'm actually afraid of them dropping boulder equipment, because I hate having to deal with it. It just clutters up the inventory. Anyways, so what we have here, a flame stone plate ring, like the ones that were being sold up top of the Knights of Bernaki. Bernice. So, this might actually... There might have been some link between the Boulder Knights and those guys. Or it could be that they, you know, came together. Maybe they, you know, came later and they're just protecting it. Who knows? But I will point out that because our guy up there says that he came alone, and the fact that he knows about Night King Rendell failing, maybe he was the first one to show up and he was like a scout or something, and the other ones came after him. I don't know, it's really not clear. But he says he did it alone, but he's obviously still associated with the Knights of Bernaki, which means that he is associated as well with Black Iron Tarkus, for one. Probably, we'll get to that in a second. So it's really unusual, the timeline of events, of actually how any of that works. Which, again, as I mentioned, it's FromSoft, so who knows? Maybe it just doesn't make any sense, maybe it does. Stone plate's a symbol of a true knight, blah blah blah, we've already seen this. This one symbolizes fire, because it's red. Because red things are like fire, so they're associated with fire. I'm not really mocking them, but yeah, it is what it is. Kind of a lazy description, though. But anyways, this is where this goes. If you fall down here, you just take the stairway to heaven, right back up. That's weird. You can hear the mechanics of that thing still moving, but it's obviously, it doesn't have any boulders to drop anymore. So what the hell is that noise? I don't know, that's mysterious. Anyways, let's see. I've got a few more things plenty of things in my notes, actually, that I need to go down. But first, I need to heal up so I can drop down and get probably the coolest weapon in the game that I will have absolutely no use for, and no one will have any use for. Now, I may have edited the video in such a way that you could see the fact that I am able to not have to go through the hole and jump all the way over here. But, you know, I kind of had the jump in the wrong spot, and I just barely missed it. So that's that. Anyways, pillage this corpse for the sniper crossbow and sniper bolts, whatever, sniper bolts, who gives a shit. Sniper crossbow, you are beautiful in every way, and hard to find, but that's about it. Large crossbow with long distance, used by Kareem snipers. Important to note, remember the creepy guys from Kareem? Often used with sniper bolts. But while crossbows are normally easy to use, the sniper crossbow requires dexterity. So nothing really overly amazing there. But look at this fucking thing. It looks amazing, don't you think? Really, really elaborate. It has a scope on it for God knows what reason. For fuck's sake. FromSoft. This and the Avalon later on, that's a whole other thing. I'll bitch about that later on. But it is a very nice looking weapon. It's so unusual that it looks this nice. Everything in Dark Souls intentionally kind of looks shitty because it's just stuff that you have found lying around. Because this is stuff that was from past generations. And all of Miyazaki games tend to have this ongoing theme of things that once were very beautiful, but they have faded. Something has been lost. And that's supposed to make you feel kind of sad about it in some ways. It kind of has a little horn or something on the very end here. It's really strange. But of course the problem with crossbows is, unlike in Dark Souls 2, you cannot aim them. You can only fire them. So the whole idea of there being a sniper crossbow is completely worthless. Because you have to position yourself completely perfectly. And look, it fired nowhere near where I was looking. That's the problem with crossbows in this game. So you have to achieve lock-on either way. So it's pointless. The sniper crossbow is completely pointless. No real reason to use it whatsoever. What should I use next? Oh yes, the Titanite catchball. Haven't actually showed this yet. I used all the Twinkling Titanite that I've gotten so far. I only got it up to +4, and I'll wait until I get more to, I'm not going to cheat things like that in, because that's all I have had access up until this point. This is a fun little weapon. Whee! Fun! You saw it here first, kids. Fun. But a few more things. This next one's gonna take forever. Maybe I should just get myself a drink of water beforehand. Or maybe not. I'll go ahead and tell you that I need to go down this route too. So I guess I'll do that before I do any major cuts. Go ahead and heal. Okay. I guess I'll go ahead with this then. So people were wondering, who exactly is Sen? Because this is Sen's fortress. There's no other information about Sen whatsoever. And by the way, this is one of the knights, Bernice. I'll cater to you fucks. One of the knights, Bernice, that is here, and these guys are all hollow, so they're not really protecting anything. He's just kind of wistfully looking out at the bell tower, remembering the good old days whenever Night King Rendell and Black Iron Tarkus were ringing those bells, and Logan was ringing those bells, and just thinking back to the past when he ate Snickers bars and masturbated in closets, or whatever the fuck these guys do. Ha ha! But then I interrupt them, because I'm a dick. I am a dick, but I love it. I love every minute of it. Okay. Oh, actually, wow, I finally got one. I had to manually use 10 of them to get one soft humanity. The enemies in this area are few and far between, I guess. You fight more singular enemies than you do multiple enemies. So that's probably the reason why it took so long to actually get one. I'll farm a bit more and try to get one of those Man-Serpent Greatswords later for you guys. Anyways, I'll save the Sen's comment for a second. I wanted to point this out. This is Prince Rickard. If you've only played Dark Souls 2, you will recognize the name, Rickard's Rapier, and that is exactly what he is using. And you'll notice he wears the same gear that Oscar does, actually, let's go ahead and put the damn thing on. He wears the same exact armor as, I have so many now. But I switch, so this is the reason why I keep it cluttered, is because I switch between these so often. I can't stand just having one thing to use and that's it. But you would think as much as I switch, I would actually know where everything is at this point. But I don't. I don't! Okay, anyways. But he uses this gear like all the people that are from Estora. So he is associated with Estora. And what else is he associated with? He is also associated with assholery. Do it. Do it, I'm here, do it! Little asshole. But he has a lot of poise, as you can see. Like, I hit him with that, and it didn't interrupt his attack whatsoever. He is a dangerous motherfucker, especially at low levels. But unfortunately for him, I grinded like a motherfucker, and now I am just brute forcing the entire area. Too bad for you. Too bad for you. But he drops Rickard's Rapier. Let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at this. Where are you? There you are. Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, come on. I've never actually read this. This is one of the starting weapons, anyways. So it's not really that important. Small hand axe appears identical to a lumberjack's tool, but has an ideal weight and strength and is easy to handle. One wrong swing leaves the wielder wide open, so trimming does absolutely nothing of importance. And actually, this is pretty much identical to a lumberjack's tool, so good job, FromSoft. You got one right. You got one right. Rickard's Rapier. A rapier with intricate decorations. Chosen weapon of the infamous undead Prince Rickard. Not Richard. Not Richard, there's no H. Prince Rickard. Rickard's exploits are told in monomyth. He was born into royalty, but wandered the lands in a fateful, ill-conceived journey. He became undead and disappeared up north. So, I will point out that we are from the Northern Undead Asylum, so maybe there's some link with him disappearing up north, or maybe not at all. Why they even mention that he disappeared up north, I don't know. But I kind of like touches like that. It doesn't really add anything as far as lore significance goes, but it does make it seem a bit more meaty, you know? Really juicy. But things to point out with him. He is infamous. Exploits told in monomyth. I should have looked this up beforehand. I don't quite know what they mean by monomyth. They could mean that it is told within one legend. Like it's not associated with anything else. Like he is kind of on his own, maybe. I don't know, it's kind of weird. I'll look more into it in a second. But he was born into royalty and wandered the lands in a fateful, ill-conceived journey. So, even though he is a prince, he apparently didn't think too highly of that, and decided to just take off on his own. And he kind of got what he deserved whenever he did that, and ended up becoming undead and dying as a result. So, the reason why he is here is probably because of that, that same sort of thing. He was a little bit too enamored with the idea of adventure, and ended up getting himself killed in the result. But I'll probably have a bit more lore about him in a bit. First, I want to show a moveset of this. R1, of course, two-handed R1, nothing special there. This is why people use it. That, and I think if I... does it work with double tapping? Yeah, okay, yeah. If you double tap it, actually it will continue a bit more. Like I'm hitting multiple times. You get more stabs out of that way. It is... it really goes on the hyper mode in Dark Souls 2. And I think, yeah, the R2 is kind of similar with the two-handed moveset. Pretty neat. The reason why people use that is to... This is sort of a buff-carrying weapon, in that if you, enchant it or something, then, multiple hits are obviously going to have multiple benefits from using one buff. So that's the reason why people use a weapon like this. Anyways, I need to upgrade that. Might use that in a bit. Oh, but the greatsword. Never actually mentioned anything about this. I actually really like this sword. In Dark Souls 2, everyone uses the greatsword. Wooly and Pats, who use the same fucking weapon the whole goddamn playthrough. Fucking boring as shit. Yeah, it's the highest DPS. Why wouldn't you use it? Fuck's sake. But this is that weapon. It is actually the same exact model. It's just blown up in Dark Souls 2. Because bigger's better. Bigger, stupider fucking weapons are always better, aren't they? FromSoft B-Team, you miserable fucks. Anyways, I think that's... Yeah, we've already read all this off. But Black Iron Tarkus does use this weapon. This obviously is a Berserk reference, and that's probably the reason why they blew it up so big in Dark Souls 2. Because they wanted to make sure that it was obvious that we're making another Berserk reference. Half the Dark Souls games and Demon Souls are nothing but Berserk references that don't have any place being in the game because they don't have any associations. But we'll just keep doing it, won't we? Anyways, I just wanted to point out that in Dark Souls 1, they restricted themselves. It is much smaller, and it looks a lot better. It is a much more handsome weapon. I mean, look at the texture on this. This is an amazing looking weapon. Even though it is obviously worn from use, this is a very handsome weapon. Whoever did whoever modeled this and then textured it and so on, did a really fantastic job with it. Really impressed with the overall design of this thing. This is its R2. And that's probably, this is basically, it has the same exact moveset as the Zweihander. You see, it has kind of the same thing going on for it. And this thrust is really the only thing different about it. And I think actually it even has, I don't have the Zweihander with me because I really don't like using it. But it has almost the same exact stats. This one is a little bit heavier. And I think, does it have different scaling? I can't quite remember what the other difference is. But it's almost nothing. It's almost nothing. So, even though the Zweihander is obviously very famous for being sort of the de facto kind of stereotyped Dark Souls 1 weapon, this is basically the same exact thing. And it's a much better looking weapon. I really enjoy the look of this thing. And I'll probably end up using this a little bit after I get it upgraded, which I'm going to make a cut after I pick up these things. So I will be using this in a bit. And some of you have been requesting big dumb weapons. I know. Let's actually go ahead and do this. I'll show you this. These might be close enough together. I like to do this to save time. That's a funny joke I told. But I do this to save time. I will open 2 treasure chests next to one another, get in between them, and then you can pick up both of them at the same time. Assuming you tap the A button fast enough, which I didn't do right then. Anyways, you get a rare ring of sacrifice and a divine blessing. Divine blessings, I fucking hate these things. These are one of these weapons. These are one of these things that I've picked up one before, obviously. Where the fuck are you, little bastard? Holy water from Goddess Guinevere. Fully restores blah 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 blah. The Goddess of Sunlight Guinevere, daughter of the great Lord of Sunlight Gwyn, is cherished by all as a symbol of bounty and fertility. We'll see why in a bit. Sexy. No, I'm sorry. That was uncalled for. That was uncalled for. But there's lots of this completely unnecessary items in this game. Like, there are even more consumable items and whatnot, and it just clutters the inventory. And things like this, there is... Divine Blessings fully restore your health point automatically. It's like using humanity, basically. And it also cures all of your status ailments. But the thing is, why would you have this on your item bar all the time? Why? You know, you would there might be like like Blighttown or something where you might, you know, have it equipped specifically. But the thing is, if you're panicking, realize, oh, I'm low on health and I need to get rid of status ailments, then you can't come to this menu and use this, you know, that quickly. It's dumb. There's no reason to have shit like that in this game. Anyways, I'm going to cut back. I'm going to turn human, and then I will pick back up at the top of the tower from then. I'll see you guys in a second. As you can see, our friend is back. I'm not going to quite stop here, but I just wanted to show you guys that he's back. I'm going to use a claw, and I'm going to claw some guys, because I'm a cat. I'm a naughty cat. I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about Sin specifically. I didn't quite get to this, I know. I'll cut it out. I'm just going to claw the shit out of him. You can see these claw and fist weapons aren't too great. Please don't. Oh, thank you. Thank God it's just Titanite shards. I don't want to have to go in my inventory and start dropping those things. But people are asking what exactly Sin's is named after. That's quite a bit of controversy because... Oh, and here's the thing that we can use the key on. Use cage key, and this is our elevator all the way down. But we have to get in to trigger it to go down and set it. Which means that I could get myself killed doing this because there is a... For some reason, they felt compelled to put a man-serpent right here. Right here. And you have to walk out and go back in to reset it. Maybe back in this back step. Bastard. Naughty little slut. Go down there and get yourself killed. Too bad it's not far enough to kill him. Oh well. I'll kill him again next time. Little asshole's still down there firing lightning. What a bitch. By the way, though, that lightning causes magic damage, not lightning damage. Which makes no sense at all. You can tell that if you use certain kinds of shields and whatnot. That is not important in any fashion. Anyway, Sin's Fortress. I'll stop for a moment to get myself... Because if I keep going, I'll distract myself. There are two things that you could read into with Sin. Sin is not mentioned anywhere in the game. Ever. The only time Sin is ever mentioned is whenever you enter the area and it says Sin's Fortress, or whenever you talk to Andre and he will mention Sin's Fortress by name, but nothing about Sin himself or herself or whatever. There's a couple things. Sin in Japanese, S-E-N, means 1,000. So some people say, well, it's a fortress of 1,000 traps or something like that. And it could mean that. A more convoluted, and this is going to take a while to explain, I'm sorry for standing one place, but this is going to take a while. A more convoluted way of explaining this is maybe it is a reference to Lady Sin, or Senhime, who is a figure from Japanese history, again, so we're going to get into this. And I'm not an expert in Japanese history, so I'm sure all you little weeaboos can start correcting me. You love being called weeaboos, don't get mad at that, you love it. I'll give you sweet kisses, sweet kisses. Let's see, but Lady Sin... I'm going to just read what I wrote here, just so I can actually get it correctly. But was a 17th century, you know, she was from the 17th century. She was a noble woman. She was married to Toyotomi. I'm gonna read this in the most redneck fucking way possible. Toyotomi Hideyori. But she was married to him, but her grandfather besieged his castle and ended up killing him for some reason that I'm not clear about because I'm not an expert on it. And she was supposedly the whole place was on fire, and she was rescued. Presumably, this is one of these things where it's probably completely historical. You know, it's just bullshit probably, but it became Japanese legend. Like, you know, and I've been over this before. But anyways, supposedly she was rescued by a guy named Sakazaki Naomori. Who actually wanted to marry her himself, but in the process of rescuing her, he was burned very, very badly. And she was a very shallow person, apparently, and said that she didn't want to marry him because he was ugly, because in the process of rescuing her life, he got burned a little. So, he tried to actually recapture her and take her off on a whirlwind romantic thing where he tried to convince her, I'm actually worth marrying or whatever. But they ended up just capturing him before he could even try it and putting to death. Good job, Lady Sin. Good job, Lady Sin. But anyways, she eventually was married off once again to... Let me go ahead and claw the shit out of this guy. That worked pretty well that time. Just not against those Boulder Knights for some reason. But she was married off once again to, let's see, let me read his name. Okay, yeah, there it is. Honda Tadamasa. Honda Tadamasa. She was married off to him, and she ended up being, you know, for the rest of her life, she lived in Himeji Castle, which is a famous Japanese castle. I think one of 4, actually, that are very famous. But that's another subject. And, how this is all linked to Dark Souls, supposedly, is that because it is linked to that castle is specifically known as being a very heavily fortified castle that had a lot of traps and shit built into it. And, Sin specifically had a tower built for her. So, this whole fortress, Sin's fortress, that could just be a really roundabout way of trying to imply that this had a similar... Let's go ahead and switch out weapons. That this had a similar history. That maybe this place was built by a woman, or maybe it was built for a woman, or maybe it was built to specifically protect a woman. Or, you know, or maybe it's just trying to evoke the same sort of imagery. Like, protecting something very precious, something that is, you know, innocent and beautiful, or something like that. So maybe that's the reason why it's called Sin's Fortress. Because it is meant to protect Anor Londo. And that's the best guess I can possibly pull out of my ass, guys. That is the best possible guess that I can pull out of my ass. What do you guys want to see? I upgraded a few of these things. What do you guys want to see? You wanted to see something big and stupid. I can't even use this with 2 hands, so this is going to go very poorly. I'll bring this up in a... No, I'll read that off that quick. I have a question I want to read off that kind of links with that whole thing about Sin's Fortress too, but I'll read that in a second. By the way, you think that this shit all over the handle kind of looks like pubic hair? Kind of looks like pubic hair to me. Just a little bit. Probably demonic pubic hair from the Witch of Izalith. Anyways, this is Iron Tarkus. You will remember, this is odd. We find Iron Tarkus later, not here. So obviously he succeeded. He got to Anor Londo. He won. So what this guy over there was talking about, I don't know. I guess he saw him fight, and maybe Iron Tarkus failed once or something? Who knows? Or maybe they happened in another timeline. Maybe time is... Ooh, maybe time's convoluted, guys. That explains everything. Maybe it was the Force. Fuck that shit. I should have gotten water. Let's go ahead and summon Tarkus. And I'm going to summon Tarkus. I'm going to bring him into the fight, and I am not even going to participate. And I'm not going to participate because I want to see if Iron Tarkus can actually beat the shit out of this boss out here. Because oh man, I move so slow now. This is not going to go well at all. But we are going to be fighting the Iron Golem, which seems to be another construct that was made... It's not a person, in other words. That was made with the intent of protecting this fortress, or protecting the entrance to Anor Londo. So, I'm going to do this because Iron Tarkus is a fucking huge badass. And he's actually... What are you looking at, man? I know that is a nice column. It's pretty nice, isn't it? Very fascinating. But I'm probably going to end up, as soon as I can find it, I'm going to be wearing his armor for much of the playthrough, probably. Just because I really like that armor. And I'll probably, instead of using the helmet that he's using, I'll probably end up using the... Oh, now I'm interesting. Are you done? Are you done? No? Okay. I'll probably end up using the helmet of the golem out here that you can get shit up. Once we beat him, I'll go back to Shitface down in Anor Londo and I'll get shit from him. Shit. Let's get going. I'm sure you guys are furious that this thing has been as long as it has been. I only had a few things to talk about, or a few things to go through, but I had a lot to talk about. Oh man, I'm so slow. But I'm just going to try to get past him and let Iron Tarkus and this golem fight it out. Come on. Yes, there you go. Now this can go either way. No, don't follow me. Come on, go. Get him. Yeah, fuck him up. Come on, guys, cheer for Tarkus. I'm sure they can kick his ass. If you don't think that he can kick his ass, he fucking can. Look at this. Look at him go. Come on, get the other leg! Get the other leg! That's how you knock him down! No, don't stand there, get him! Yes! The other one! Get the right one! Come on, Tarkus, you can do it! You can do it! Oh! He almost had it! Oh no, the battle's swinging the wrong way so quickly! Oh god, no! This is not going according to plan. Tarkus, you can still bring it back, buddy. Come on. Come on, look how he's taking those hints like a motherfucker. And I love this because he is like, I think he is actually the only human being that we know for certain has actually gone all the way through this boss to Anor Londo. So him being able to beat him on his own and almost losing is a great... I love that. I mean, it makes the boss easy if you want to. Oh, come on, man. He's not an ice cream cone. Don't do that. But it's a great way of selling this idea. I love this. I know some people complain about it trivializing the boss fight, which I'm not even participating in, but Iron Tarkus! Tarkus! Yes! Fuck him up, buddy. Oh, come on. Let me get my... Oh, no. It won't let you do emotes in this game. Whenever you, it's doing the victory thing, you can't do emotes, unfortunately. Oh, well. I was going to give him a high five. I was going to kiss him. I was going to fuck him in the ass. But no, it's too late. Anyways. Iron Tarkus, huge fucking badass. Just beat the shit out of that Iron Golem. Good job. Let's go ahead and look at his soul while we're thinking about it. And yes, I was doing a reference to that one video. You cute little darlings, I know that you know what I know. I know you know what I know. Core of an Iron Golem. No, not the Iron Golem or anything like that. This is the core of an Iron Golem. Not the soul of an Iron Golem. The core. So it is another soul that is being used to power this thing. Soul serving as the core of the Iron Golem, guardian of Sense Fortress, and slayer of countless heroes seeking Anor Londo. Countless. So I'm sure that this is also including like the knights themselves, like not just named people like Rickard or Tarkus or so on. Originally a bone of an everlasting dragon, which this could be referring to the physical body. I don't know. Hold on. Used to acquire a huge number of souls and create a unique weapon. It says, I don't know. This doesn't make any sense to me. So this apparently is some sort of soul, but it is made from the bone of an everlasting dragon. That presents quite a few things that are kind of problematic. Or it could be talking about the Iron Golem's body itself, which would make more sense, because lots of things are made out of like dragon scales and things like that. So that would not present any problem. The problem with saying that the soul itself is created from the bone of an everlasting dragon is that everlasting dragons don't have souls, because they are beings of, they are beings of neutrality, of pure existence. They just, they just exist. They don't live, they don't die. They're just like rocks. It's the same thing as just fucking rocks. They're just there. They are part of the world, and that's it. So implying that it's actually a soul on its own is very confusing. And even Seath, who is probably the most unlike of the everlasting dragons that there ever, was such a thing, even he doesn't have his own soul. He is a fragment of Gwyn's soul. So especially confusing. But we'll get even more into that much later on. Anyways, we'll use that for that shit. And now we traverse up to Anor Londo. But first, actually, I'll just want to go ahead and point out the fact that that door in front of us used to be probably an elevator or some sort of stairwell that led... Oh, I can't quite get my camera all the way up. But it used to lead all the way up to the walls of Anor Londo. But apparently at some point it was... Let me look, actually. I never really gotten a good look at this. But apparently it was... and I'm not even going to be using this dumb weapon, so I don't know why I'm... whatever. So apparently, was it actually walled up, or did it just... Yes, okay, it looks like it was walled up. Because it could have just collapsed in on itself. But this does look like it was actually made as a physical wall, and that it has just deteriorated over time. From the looks of things, it actually looks like a bunch of shit was poured down into this place from up above, and then people down below actually put a wall up to keep it from pouring in over itself. And the wall at some point collapsed, and that's probably what happened there. That's pretty interesting, don't you think? Don't you love it whenever I stop and look at things that are completely insignificant, but actually are very significant? I know I do. And by the way, gargoyles, who kind of have stupid faces. They don't look quite like the ones that are over there, but they are gargoyles, and this is going to be very confusing because the gargoyles that we're about to see are demons. Keep that in mind. Well, I examined it. What's supposed to happen now? Oh, they're doing stuff to me. I don't like it. Or do I? Welcome to Anor Londo. This is the city of the gods. This is the pinnacle of Asgard. This is the walled-off fortress of the gods, and that specifically is the Duke's Archives, where we will find Seath later on, who was made a lord by Lord Gwyn. A duke by Lord Gwyn, excuse me. Gonna be a lot of fun to be had in this city. And you notice that there's a little bit of Ornstein and Smoke's thing kind of mixed in with the music as soon as we hit Anor Londo proper. And a lot of ambience. It kind of reminds me of Final Fantasy VII's overworld theme in the later discs, actually. Kind of a weird reference. Obviously not a reference, but, you know, just something I thought of. You will notice, actually, before I even go on, the gargoyles, like the guy up here, who's not wearing any panties either, seems to be a recurring thing. He kind of has a brain face, too. I'm gonna get my binoculars. I'm gonna stare right at his crotch. Miserable little fuck. I'm gonna look right up in there. Patsu! Ha ha ha! Weird looking guys. For some reason, these are not hostile. But as soon as we go into Anor Londo itself, we will see more of them, and they will be very hostile. And as we saw earlier, whenever we were looking at the Shiva, you know, the shit that he was selling, the spear that he was selling specifically, which I might... No, I think I put it in the box. I might still have it. Actually, let me check first. I think I put it in the box. Yeah, I don't have it with me. But these guys are demons. Now, demons are all the offshoots of the bed of chaos. Why they are here does not make any sense whatsoever. I'm going to get a good look at this side. Why exactly they are here, I don't know. Kind of has weird bloody claws here. But these guys, I think, are just... I don't know if this is the same exact model, but they're lifted basically out of demon souls. And this is one of those things where I kind of just chalk it up to the fact that Miyazaki really likes reusing assets and things, and sometimes he doesn't really think about the fact that people are going to miss... Like the Bloodborne thing with him, with the one of the bosses, it being Link, that he says, Umbasa. Like, people say, oh, it's Demon Souls 2, it's Demon Souls 2. No, it's just Miyazaki sometimes just reuses things. And to me, to him, it's not really that important. And this is what I wanted to lead into. I wanted to lead up to this question. This is a question, and I'll go ahead and point out that this is a cliffside facing. This seems to be a crater or something like that. A lot of foliage around. I'll try to give you a good shot at the very end of the video of everything, and I'll talk about more of it there. But I just wanted to go ahead and show this since I'm going to be leaving this area. But this is a cliff facing. This is the reason why the walls are so incredibly high. Probably created with slave labor as well. Could have taken centuries to complete. Who knows? Anyways. And by the way, this is the first person that I'm going to name in any of the comments. So feel privileged. I am a god. Yes! I have no idea what I'm talking about. Hedge Knight Matt asks, random question, Plague, are you a fan of Neon Genesis Evangelion? You're going to be wondering how I'm bringing this up. The Souls lore lends itself well to the series, or you think it's pretentious shit? And, by the way, these are more these sort of... I think these guys are constructs as well. Hey, Tom, how's it going? How's it hanging, buddy? I don't think his head even turns. I think he might linger too well. They do become hostile if you get a little bit too close to him. He doesn't like being touched. But I'll go ahead and point out Ornstein's statue is over there if you have never actually seen it. And I'll be getting that chest here in a bit, but I wanted to tag the bonfire first. And I'll probably actually do that in the next part anyways. And I'll talk more about her as well. Let's just go over here and just stop here for the rest of the episode. I brought this up. I wanted to read this off. I kind of like Eva, and you're really wondering how this links to anything. But the reason why I'm going to bring this up is because this is kind of a thing with Eastern versus Western storytelling. In Eastern storytelling, in Western, I'll say this, in Western storytelling, it always bothers people that things don't make sense. Everything needs to be neatly packaged and be coherent and make sense within its own universe and be something that you can trace back all the elements to and make a linear narrative after it and so on. With Eastern storytelling, it's a bit different in that a lot of the times things are presented merely for the sake of them being thematic or just creating atmosphere. And that's kind of the case with a lot of things in Dark Souls and the Souls games in general, is that it isn't presenting things as, things that make rational sense. Sometimes they are presented merely as insinuations and atmospheric sort of presentations for that reason. And specifically about Eva, I do kind of like Eva. But a lot of it does seem to be pretentious shit because it weighs very heavily on that notion of Eastern storytelling. That a lot of the times you are presented with things that don't make literal sense. Like Shinji waking up and there being a sea of blood and, Rei's head is over there and all this other shit. It's not supposed to make literal sense. It's just metaphor. And Eastern storytelling is absolutely rife with this stuff. And even within the context of this game, of Dark Souls itself, that will come up quite a bit as well. Things like the everlasting dragons, maybe they had souls, maybe they didn't. A lot of things are contradicting themselves, or they don't really make any sense. The impression that you will be getting more and more throughout this game is that none of the things that we saw established in the opening cinematic may even be true. Because a lot of the insinuation seems to be that maybe there are things about this universe that are actually true, but they were based on something, a more realistic, down-to-earth legend. Maybe the dragons maybe there was no Grey Lands. Maybe there was no such thing as the, eternity of the abyss and this whole nature of light versus dark and so on. Maybe it was something that was more literal at some point in time, but it has been turned into legend to the point that there's a confusion between the literal and the non-literal aspects of the universe, which I'll explain more about later on once we get to a bit more meaty details. But the idea of the dragons having souls and so on may just be the first step in that direction. And I'll try to assemble a list of all the various things that I kind of think could fall in line with that idea as well, and I'll might end up making another podcast video out of it. But as far as Anor Londo proper here goes, who've been looking at a bit of these things, I wanted to point out that not all of the gods were giants. We see a few of them. Guinevere obviously is going to be one, but most of them were kind of people-sized. Whether or not they actually lived down here, I don't know. But Anor Londo itself is abandoned. It could have been that humans also lived down here. The architecture is... the architecture obviously is based on real-world architecture. I can't quite remember what they based this off of. Was Notre Dame? Excuse me. I can't quite remember. I'll research that more later for the first Anor Londo video. But I do need to go back and get a few things for Firelink. I'll probably buy the armor and so on. That's what I'm going to be doing in the meantime. Until then, I think that's all for now. I'll go a bit more about Anor Londo in a bit. But I just wanted to point out the fact that everything here is human-sized. It, at some point, was used. There was a separation between the great kind of great cathedral, to make a Vagrant Story reference, here that houses the gods that Guinevere, the royalty, used to live in. Maybe Allfather Lloyd. Oh, I can't wait for that. Maybe him too. They used to live here, and maybe there was a hierarchy going on in which the lesser gods used to live down here, or maybe this was a place made for humans. We don't quite know, and maybe we'll learn a little bit more of that later on, whenever we get to Smough, who might have a few things. A lot of stuff to talk about. But anyways, Enderlondo is absolutely rife with all kinds of shit. I will be going back and lighting the bonfire, and we will pick off from then. Is there anything else I need to go over? No. I think I've covered that pretty much well. Sorry if I didn't answer your question as specifically as I could have, but I wanted to use that as a platform to jump off. I wanted to bring that up about Sin's Fortress, to link that to Sin's Fortress, because of that notion. Maybe that he named it Sin's, not because there was a character named Sin, but because it's just one of those Eastern storytelling devices that he was trying to create some sort of association, and not a literal association where you're supposed to go, oh, there was someone named Sin, or, you know, there was someone like Sin that was, you know, also a, you know, a lady in waiting or whatever that was rescued and so on. It's not that literal. Sometimes it's just meant to evoke the same presence, that same atmosphere. And that's it. That's the end of it. And that's the reason why things like Umbasa and shit keeps reappearing in these Souls games, and why the gargoyles, you know, get reused and they don't really think anything about it. Because a lot of the times, the whole point with, you know, Eastern storytelling, kind of classic Eastern storytelling, and maybe with Miyazaki specifically, although he was a fan of Western storytelling, so that's the reason why this can be confusing, is that he is not being literal about it. And in the case of the gargoyles, maybe that's another example of that, where he's just trying to create a similar atmosphere, and he's not worried too much about the fact that it doesn't make any sense that demons are here servicing, apparently, Gwendolyn? I know, it doesn't make any sense. To us. To Westerners. But maybe to Easterners, it just doesn't matter, because they just don't give a shit. But we'll pick off from here, and you'll notice, I'll go ahead and point out, this bonfire is already lit. I will point that out. I'll go ahead and rest, and I'll pick it off from here, and we will talk to this sweet little lady in the next part. But I'll leave it here, and I will say goodbye for now, and then I'll go back to touching myself and driving fence posts and all the other good things that I do in my spare time. Still covered in filth, guys. Still covered in filth. I will see you guys next time. Sweet kisses.